Welcome to the realm of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Enjoy listening. Andrew Walter had recently returned to Earth after spending over a year living and working in space. As a skilled astrophysicist, his life in the stars had been exhilarating but isolating. Adapting to the weightless environment of a space station had become second nature to him. However, being back on Earth was an entirely different challenge, one he hadn't anticipated. Gravity weighed heavily on him, both physically and emotionally. Tasks as simple as holding objects or standing upright seemed insurmountable. Despite his excitement to return home, Andrew felt disconnected and alone. His family and friends lived far away, and his colleagues were scattered across different parts of the world. No one was close enough to help him adjust to life back on Earth. Every day felt like an uphill battle. One night, while struggling to catch his breath as he prepared for bed, an idea struck him. During his time in the space colony, he had formed a close bond with an alien scientist named Lona. She had always told him, "Call me if you ever need anything." At first, Andrew hesitated. Would she even want to leave her world to help him? But the memory of her kind eyes and gentle voice pushed his doubts aside. Gathering his courage, he reached out to her. "Lona, hello. It's Andrew. I was one of the lab technicians at the colony. Do you remember me?" A soft, familiar voice responded, "Andrew, of course I remember you. It's wonderful to hear from you. How are you?" Andrew sighed, his voice heavy with exhaustion. "Not great, to be honest. I'm struggling to adjust back to Earth. Everything feels wrong. And Lona, I've missed you. Would you consider coming here? I could really use your help. And your company." There was a pause on the other end, and Andrew's heart raced as he awaited her reply. "Andrew," Lona said warmly, "I've thought of you every day since you left. The colony hasn't been the same without you. I'd love to come." A wave of relief washed over Andrew. He promised to arrange for her transport to Earth. That night, he slept deeply for the first time in weeks, comforted by the thought of seeing Lona again. The following morning, Andrew awoke earlier than usual, filled with a sense of purpose. He spent the day tidying his small house in preparation for Lona's arrival. The simplest tasks, however, felt monumental. His weakened muscles trembled as he bent to pick up stray newspapers, and his hands fumbled as he tried to rearrange his bookshelves. But he pushed through the fatigue, determined to create a welcoming environment for her. When the sun set, Andrew received confirmation that Lona's transport capsule would land later that night. He bundled himself up and ventured into the cold, his breath fogging in the crisp air. The anticipation made his legs tremble even more than the low temperatures. As midnight approached, a brilliant light pierced the dark sky. The capsule descended gracefully, its engines humming softly as it touched down. Andrew's chest tightened with a mix of nerves and excitement. He watched as the capsule's door hissed open. Lona emerged, her tall, elegant figure silhouetted against the light. Her lavender-hued skin shimmered faintly under the moonlight, and her silvery hair cascaded over her shoulders. She looked around, her vibrant eyes scanning the surroundings until they landed on Andrew. Despite his unsteady legs, Andrew moved toward her. Seeing him struggle, Lona quickly closed the distance, her long strides bringing her to his side. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, neither needing words to convey the emotions swirling between them. Lona broke the silence with a gentle smile. "It's good to see you, Andrew. It's better now that you're here," he replied, his voice thick with emotion. Back at the house, Lona admired Andrew's efforts to make it feel like home. Though it was clear he had struggled, she appreciated every detail. As they settled into the cozy living room, Lona began asking questions. "Andrew, why did you bring me here?" she asked cautiously. "Is it because you need help, or is there something more?" Andrew's eyes widened in surprise. "Lona, I would never ask you to come just to help me with chores. I care about you deeply. I've missed you more than I can say." Her expression softened. She leaned over and placed a gentle kiss on his cheek. "I missed you too. Now, let's get some rest. We have plenty of time to talk tomorrow." That night, for the first time in months, Andrew felt a sense of peace. Lonera's presence seemed to fill the empty spaces in his heart. The next morning, Andrew woke early, eager to surprise Lonera with breakfast. He tiptoed to the kitchen, determined to prepare something special. But his hands were still unsteady, and he found himself dropping utensils and spilling ingredients. The clatter of a falling pan finally woke Lonera, who appeared in the doorway. Her hair tousled and her eyes still heavy with sleep. "Andrew," she said, suppressing a laugh, "I think you need a little help." Andrew turned, his cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "I wanted to surprise you," he admitted. Lonera smiled warmly and stepped forward. "The thought counts more than anything. Let's do it together." Together, they turned the chaotic kitchen into a haven of delicious aromas and shared laughter. Andrew found himself marveling at how seamlessly they worked as a team. Over the next few weeks, Lonera became an integral part of Andrew's life. She encouraged him to rebuild his strength, guiding him through gentle exercises each morning. Andrew, though initially reluctant, found himself looking forward to their sessions. One day, Lonera presented him with a small notebook. "I've made a list of things I want us to do together," she said. The list included simple yet meaningful activities: a picnic in the park, a walk along the beach, and stargazing under Earth's vast sky. Together, they checked off each item on Lonera's list. At the park, Andrew introduced her to the sounds of Earth's birds, and Lonera was captivated. Each chirp and call seemed to her like a melody crafted by the planet itself. Andrew explained the behavior and songs of the birds, pointing out robins, sparrows, and the occasional owl. Lonera laughed with delight, her eyes wide with childlike wonder as a bird landed nearby, its head tilted in curiosity. At the beach, they sat in silence, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The waves lapped at their feet, whispering stories only they could hear. Andrew told her how the tides were tied to the moon, another celestial body that connected her world to his. Lonera shared tales of her colony's legends, stories of stars that carried the memories of those who traveled too far from home. The exchange felt like a blending of two worlds, Earth and the stars, humanity and the cosmos. Days turned into weeks, and Lonera became more than just Andrew's guide to recovery. She became his partner in rediscovering the joys of life. Together, they planted a small garden behind Andrew's home, one side with earth plants and the other with seeds Lonera had brought from the colony. As the plants grew, so did their bond. Andrew began to regain strength, his body adapting to Earth's gravity once more. He started taking short walks on his own, and even ventured to the local market, where he proudly showed Lonera the vibrant life of his town. Yet, even as Andrew grew stronger, Lonera became quieter. She watched him from the corner of her eye, her thoughts drifting to the colony. The joy of being with Andrew was undeniable, but so was the weight of her responsibility. Her people depended on her, and she knew she couldn't stay forever. One evening, after a long day of tending to the garden, Andrew and Lonera lay on a blanket under the stars. Andrew pointed out constellations, tracing their shapes with his finger in the air. Lonera, in turn, described the stars she had once visited and the planets that orbited them. "Do you ever miss it?" Andrew asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lonera hesitated. "Sometimes, but being here with you makes me wonder if I could find a new home, a new purpose." Andrew turned to her, his hand finding hers. "You've already given me so much, Lonera. I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to go back. But if you stay," he paused, searching for the right words. "If you stay, I promise to make this your home too." Lonera's heart swelled with emotion. She wanted to say yes, to commit to a life with him, but doubt crept in. What if she stayed and regretted leaving her people behind? What if she left and broke Andrew's heart? That night, while Andrew slept, Lonera sat at his desk. She stared at the blank page in front of her, her hands trembling as she picked up a pen. Her heart ached, but she knew what she had to do. She began to write. "Dearest Andrew, I have cherished every moment we've spent together on this beautiful planet of yours. You've shown me the wonders of Earth, and more importantly, you've reminded me of the strength of the human spirit. Watching you recover has been both inspiring and heartwarming. But my time here must come to an end. I belong to the colony, and my people need me just as much as you did when you called me. Leaving you now feels like leaving a part of myself behind, but I must go. Please know that you have changed my life in ways I cannot express. You've shown me what it means to care deeply for someone, to see beauty in the smallest moments, and to share a connection that defies distance. This is not a goodbye forever. One day, when the stars align and our paths cross again, I promise to return. Until then, I leave you with this. Keep looking at the stars, Andrew. They'll remind you of the vastness of our universe, where two souls like ours found each other. With all my heart, Lona asterisk. She folded the letter carefully and placed it on the table beside a shimmering crystal from her home world, a piece of her heart left behind for him to cherish. With one last glance at Andrew's sleeping form, she whispered, "I'll find you again," and stepped out into the night. When Andrew woke the next morning, Lona was gone. The house felt eerily quiet. He called out for her, his voice echoing in the empty rooms. Then he saw the letter on the table, the crystal catching the morning light. His hands trembled as he unfolded the letter. Each word pierced his heart, filling him with a mixture of sorrow and hope. Tears streamed down his face as he clutched the crystal to his chest, feeling its cool surface against his skin. Looking out the window, he gazed at the morning sky and whispered, "I'll wait for you, Lona, no matter how long it takes." In the days that followed, Andrew threw himself into his recovery with renewed determination. Lona's letter became his beacon of hope. He tended to their garden, nurturing both the earth plants and Lona's seeds. The alien plants thrived alongside their earthly counterparts, a living symbol of their connection. Andrew began working on a project to communicate with the colony. He wanted to create a bridge between Earth and the stars, not just for himself, but for everyone who dreamed of reaching beyond their world. As the years passed, Andrew became a pioneer in interstellar relations, his work inspired by the love he had found and lost. Yet every night he would step outside, look up at the stars, and feel Lona's presence. Somewhere among those stars, he knew she was waiting too,